welcome to Burning Bridges. I'm sitting here with Søren today to look at the Italian nationals lists. Søren has done some homework and looked at the different lists, and also summed up how many there are of each faction and so on. And we're gonna dive into it, I guess, Søren.
Yeah, the organizer from Italian Nationals, Paolo, asked me to if I could be the list checker, just to have somebody not involved in the tournament go through it and see if there was mistakes and fix stuff like that. So I did that the week up to the Italian Nationals, and we're recording this on Sunday afternoon. So the Italian National is going on. So we don't know who's going to win, but of course there's some favorites. We got Etienne, who we had on the show, 2-3 weeks ago. He's of course a contender, and we got Fred from France. He's also a very good player. Paolo, and more. We got David Vigor from America joining. We got some of the Belgian guys. There's a lot of people coming. So let's just go into it and see what's going on.
Yes, definitely.
So if we take a look overall, the Italian Nationals is a 2-day event. So they play 5 games, but there's an option of players coming and playing only Saturday and then playing 3 games and then going home. Because if people driving in Italy, it's you can come from far away. So instead of having to stay at a hotel, you can go home. So we could see that this year they had 40 players in total playing Flames of War at this tournament.
It's really nice.
That's
nice number.
That's nice. So with the numbers are going up, it's I think it's the highest number they had for a while. So
this is also the first of the World Tours GTs, right? World Series.
Yes, the European Tour, where we have the Milano tournament, what's it called? It's Flanders GT in Belgium. Robbie Noterman is running that, and then there's the German one. I'm not sure it's the German GT, but it's at least in that series. So the point being that if you participate in 2 of those competitions, your best results, your 2 top results will be summarized, put together, and then they'll find the best player in Europe that way. So if you want to be in the rankings, you have to do at least 2 of these tournaments. So maybe that's why we have a lot of players, which is super. It's always good to have something encouraging people to play Flames of War.
Yeah.
But let's jump into the lists and see what we got. So we got 40 players at the Italian Nationals, and they're playing mid-war, 100 points. And we got 8 US players, we got 6 British players, we got 9 Soviet players, 11 Germans, 4 Italians, 2 Romanians, nobody playing Hungarians, and nobody playing Finnish. That means that in total we have 40 players, 23 are allies and 17 are Axis. So there's a pretty decent spread among the nationalities. A bit surprising for me personally that we didn't see any Hungarians. I think.
Why is that?
Well, the Hungarians, they have access to the German allies, so they could take a German formation or they could take a good German unit if they needed to. They have relatively cheap, well, not even relatively cheap. They have extremely cheap infantry and access to cheap guns. They can have the 50mm guns, the 75mm guns. You know, you can build I would say you could build a decent defending army with lots of bodies and still have points for good units. You could take a Tiger. I know it's popular. I don't like the Tiger, but you know you get a very hard unit to kill. Can assault. You can do it to counter the KVs, which are meta in the current mid-war events. So I was surprised that nobody wanted to play them. The Finnish is of course a niche army. The further down you go in Europe, the fewer Finnish list you'll see. I'm quite sure that if we looked at the Talvisota, the Finnish GT, we'll see a lot more Finnish players. So
Yeah. There's a lot of
so of
Finnish
course
infantry
there's
companies.
something there.
Yeah.
But looking at the Soviets list, Soviets has been popular since the dynamic points fixed some of the issues with them. And again, the nine Soviet lists, they are pretty equal. Like they're all made of the same mold. Like you pick a infantry formation. That could be hero rifles. It could be, what are they called? Motor hero rifles, and you use them because it's cheap infantry. They have good motivation as long as they have commissar. They have access to the cheap mortars, even though the mortars got a bit more expensive. They're still cheap. They have access to anti-tank guns, which are in formation. So you're making formations that are hard to break, and still have the essential stuff. They can give you some templates and can give you some anti-tank.
Yeah.
And then you'll have access to the KVs. They got more expensive in the Dynamic Points 2025, but they're still good. A front armor 9 tank is really strong in the current meta, and the Italian national is playing with the ETC rules, meaning that you can only have one allied unit. So the Italians, for example, can't take 2 German units.
Okay.
And the ETC rules are divided so that if you're using Italians from North Africa, they can only take German units from North Africa book. So all of a sudden you can't have a Ferdinand, you can't have a Tiger, you can't have, there's a lot of things. All of a sudden you can have Panzer IIIs, and the Italians really don't need medium armor. They got the Zemuente, they got the cheap L tanks. So it does something with the setup. So that's interesting. Also, what changed with the Dynamic Points 2025 is that the heroes for the Sturmovik plane all of a sudden dropped from 7 points to 3 points. So now you can have the Il-2 Sturmovik with a hero that makes it veteran for 10 points.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
that's nice, right? So you can have you have something that can threaten the heavy tanks, and they still got guns, so they can still handle priests and vesps and stuff like that. Maybe even kill the German, big glass cannons. They got the Sture Emil and the Digemax and Bunker Flag.
Stuks even.
Yeah,
I mean,
Stuks.
only 3 in the side, so
Yeah,
M10s
3 inside.
as well.
Yeah, so it's an anti-tank 6 gun, but it's you can still get 4 shots. If you can hit it, you can bail it or even kill it. So so that's a good option. So if you look at the Soviet lists, 8 of them run infantry formations. Half of the 9 list has a plane with the hero. What is it? 7 of the 9 list has KVs. One of the 2 that doesn't have KVs has Churchills, so heavy tanks. So there's only one Soviet list that's different, and he's running just a normal rifle vanilla company. So he's spamming 80 stands of Soviet Strelkovy infantry. I'm not sure he's going to win, but my heart is bleeding for a guy that paints up 90 stands of Soviet infantry just to get machine gunned everywhere. And I like it. That's the spirit.
Yeah.
That's very much meta. You can see that if you look at the list, and we'll put up a link, and we'll have the list showing that this is how you put together a Soviet list. Just like if you look at the the 8 American list, you'll see that a lot of them are running Lee tanks. I can see, what do we have? We got 6 out of the 8 US forces are running a Lee formation, because if you run through the American stuff, you can see that Lee's pointed at 4 points or 3 points something per tank. It seems maybe a little too cheap. It's a front armor 5 and an anti-tank 9 gun, and you can upgrade it, and then it even has a little extra gun in the turret.
Yeah, so, with the stabilizer, that's the issue, right?
Yeah, so you're stabilized. You have the secondary gun. Front Armor 5 isn't great, but
It's good in mid-war.
it's good
fine.
enough in mid-war, right? You can go toe to toe with most other medium tanks, and you'll get the numbers. And the American formations have the thing that, for example, the German tank formations lack, that they have access to cheap artillery. You still get the mortars. I think they doubled in price. You can still get the T-30s, which is an assault gun, which can shoot artillery as well. It's gone from 3 to 6 points, I think.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you don't. It's not auto include to have both units, but you still have access to the smoke template and a template that can threaten 88s or stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so it's quite a popular choice among the Americans. Of the UK forces, there's 6 of them, I think. Contrary to the Soviets, where everybody's running an infantry formation, all of the British players are running tank formations. So 5 out of the 6 are running tank formations. So that's maybe because in mid-war the British infantry formations aren't that big and are not that cheap. So, and they still have the infantry problem in mid-war where they lack anti-tank. So you can't just buy a infantry unit and put it on its own. If you buy infantry, you have to have some gun unit close to it. So it's not just the 7-8 points for a unit. You'll have to have some 6-pounders. You'll have to have some Bofors. You have to have something close to it, or tanks. So, and if we look at the standings, the British players aren't placing that high because they don't have any of the super units anymore. It was previously common to have the Crusader army where you can have the scout cars. So not scout cars, scout cart. So you could be gun to ground even though you move. So you could get your 12, 15 Crusaders into a position where you could make a alpha strike, and that's just gone now. It used first edition it cost 1 point for a unit. Now it's 3 points for a unit. So it's going from 5 points to maybe 12, 15 points, and that's simply too much in a 100-point army. So they have some problems, and you could say that the Churchills is of course a super nice tank. They are front armor 8. They have a decent gun, anti-tank 10, but compared to, you could just run KVs and play Soviets instead, because 11 points a tank is a lot. You're putting a third of your army into Churchills, and they will die if you come across a German player running a Tiger or a Ferdinand, a bunker flag, whatever.
Yeah.
The Studer Emil is, 9 points for anti-tank 20 gun. It'll just go through your little Churchill tank and kill it straight away. So I think the British players are in not a super spot at the moment in mid-war. And the Germans are the most popular faction in Italian nationals. They have 11, so 25% of all the players, a little more, are playing Germans. But the Germans apparently don't have one, let's pick this and play it. So they have tank formation, they have mechanized formations, some even run infantry formation. Grenadier. So it's hard to say how do you build a good German list.
It's definitely not the same mold as you say.
No, there's a lot of difference, of course. So Vince from US, who's a vivid mechanized player, will be happy to see that there's quite a few mechanized infantry lists. And of course, in mid-war, the mounted assault rule can be really nice, because all of a sudden, if you can kill the guns, then your half-tracks can actually just crash into the infantry and be relatively safe. So that's an option I assume we'll see more in mid-war that we do normally in late war. So, and the Romanian lists, there's too few to say there's any trend in what's going on. They also have access to armored half-tracks, so they can do the armored assault as well. And they're cheaper than the Germans, of course, because they got their stats are worse. That's how it's looking. It's interesting to see, and also interesting to see how they're performing at the moment in Milano.
Speaking of performance, should we look at the standings? We
Yeah,
have the standings for round 4, right?
But before we go to that, let's just have a look at it. There was a limit on how you could build your list at the Italian Nationals. There was a limit on the number of formations you could take. You could max take 2 formations. But out of the 40 players, only 13 chose to have dual formations. And of all the formations present, there was 21 tank formations, 8 mechanized, and 24 infantry. So the number of infantry formation is bigger than the tank formations, which came as a surprise to me. I thought that in mid-war, because of the lack of anti-tank weapons for the infantry, it would be more popular to run tank formations.
Yeah, and cheaper tanks as well, right?
Yeah, most of the tanks, the medium tanks, has gone down. So I expected before the tournament that we would see a majority of tank formations. Maybe because a lot of the gun teams became cheaper as well. So even though the infantry formations are the same price as they used to be, you can all of a sudden get the support in guns that you can hold off a tank formation. You can see some of the Soviet guns have become cheaper. I noticed that the 122 millimeter Soviet artillery gun went from 8 points to 6 points. They have anti-tank 9 in direct fire. I know it's a rate of fire 1 slow firing gun, but it's still, if you can put that behind your infantry, they act as deterrent in assault, and all during the game they can keep that anti-tank 3 firepower 3 bombardment going. So that's pretty strong. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Also, as we talked about the Soviet lists, when 8 out of 9 Soviet players are running only the infantry formation, of course that's going to buff up the numbers of infantry. Italians do infantry as well, really good. So all these numbers, but it was a surprise. I wasn't prepared for that.
It's a happy surprise.
I thought we would see US Lees everywhere, and we are. If you're American, you're playing Lees, but still, a lot of the Lee lists also have has infantry formation where you can take. The armored rifles are really strong in mid-war because all of the bazookas, even though they don't assault super good, they
still defensive fire.
They still defensive fire. You can still send out of team to do a side shot at a medium tank and then assault it. You know, the American rifle company is the cheapest as well. You can have an HQ and 2 platoons of rifles and the cheap 60 millimeter mortars. So you get 2 smoke bombardments, artillery templates, and you can get it for 24 points. So that's a reason. But yeah, let's have a look at some of the lists. We mentioned Etienne is playing, so why not take a look at one of the good players and see what he has.
Yeah. Etienne is playing a Russian or Soviet force that you picked for him, or how was it?
Yeah, he sent 2 lists and said, I can't decide what should I play, and I said I want to see some a rifle company, a Soviet rifle company, the Vanilla save on 4+. See if you can do something with that, because I certainly can't. But
okay, yeah. So he has a small hero battalion, right, with only 2 times 8 teams, hero rifles. So I guess they're not hitting on 2s, or how is it?
No, they're not hitting on 2s. That's the motor rifles.
And then he has 6 machine guns and 6 PTRDs that are auto include, I think. And he's bringing some heavy tanks, I see, with 3 KV flames, 18 points. That's dirt cheap. And 3 regular KVs and some artillery. 4, like you said, only 6 points for a 3-3 artillery barrage. That's pretty cheap. 3+ firepower and 3 anti-tank. Standard recon, of course, and some heavy tank killer guns with AT-11, And the rifle dudes, or MG and rifle with a commissar and a Schmerz card that upgrades them to a 2+ motivation, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3 plus. It's depending if you're a hero or non-hero.
Yeah, but they
I
are
think
not
the
hero.
rifle
They have a
company is
commissar.
on a 2 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has 20 teams that are saving on force, but counter-attacking very much.
On a 2 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they have the Ura special rule as well, I guess, so they actually have a lot of counter-attacking teams.
They have a lot
So
of
I guess that's his plan, is to, in defense at least, defend with that as a blob or wave before you actually reach the good guys. And it also looks like it can attack. 2 artillery templates, some KVs, 6 heavy tanks is nothing to sniff at. So
yeah. I don't know if he's defending or attacking or what he's doing,
neither.
but it seems a very capable list if you're
very flexible.
Yeah.
I guess the 2 templates are gonna shoot 88s or anything big gunned.
They of course have the Soviet problem of being skill 5 in mid-war. So you're not just putting it down, but with careful placement to begin with.
And we know Etienne to be a patient player, so
yeah.
He doesn't have a problem to use 2 turns on ranging in first.
No, he's planning far ahead. He's not. I expect him not to be picking just the target closest to him. I think he will be putting it where it's needed. So of course, that is.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Søren, on this?
On Etienne's list, I'm just I'm flabbergasted that he can keep playing new lists and win. I think it's. I look at it and I don't see it's an auto win playing this. It still has lack of anti-tank. There's no anti-tank higher than 9.
He has 2 11 guns.
2 heavy tanks, so 2 11 points.
But not a lot.
But I wouldn't count on that shooting all the Lee spam in the world away, because the Lees have this as well. But it's just he knows what he's doing. So hopefully we can get him on the show and talk us through how he played this one. Make a short video on that if he's available, because. But as you say, 20 teams. If you get a defensive mission and you can put up 20 rifle teams that counter-attack on a 2+, then you need to shoot them away. And if they're dug in, you can't shoot them away. You're going to need 5 rounds shooting artillery at them to remove them. If you have guns placed at the right place, if you have KVs placed at the right place, you can't even assault them, right? Because what are you going to... If you throw in your lead companies and he counterattacks with, say, 10 teams hitting on a 3+, because
you're going to be only hitting on 5s.
He's going to bail out a tank every assault turn. So, and he's not going to give up. 2+ counterattack, formation commander close by. You're just gonna run out of tanks.
Yeah, and another way, Lees cannot penetrate a KV.
No.
So there's going to be 3 KVs on each objective when they come in from reserve.
Yeah.
On top of the infantry that you also need to push away.
So of course the art is to be able to put your defensive line in front of your objectives far enough to turn 6. You keep the Lees away, right?
Yeah. But as we heard with Etienne's video, that he will just attack. While defending, so no problem for that.
Precisely, because if you can read the table and do the right stuff, it's just going to be very hard, and the good players can do that. So I'm still learning. Nice. So hopefully at some day I can put my Soviet vanilla infantry at the right place. But that is very interesting. So an interesting list. And we talked about the plane. Etienne doesn't use the plane. He thinks that 10 points can be used better somewhere else. Very interesting. But let's jump to one of the other nations. So we have a look at some of the Lees. If Lees is meta, let's have a look at the Lees. Have a look at at Fred's list. He's playing
Yeah.
Lees, right? So, as you can see on the screen, Fred is running a Lee company. So he's got an HQ of 1, a platoon of 3 Lees, short, a platoon of 4 Shermans, a platoon of 5 Lees, all short. Then he got the armored mortars and a Reggae unit. So that's a pretty. It's not the standard build because he's put in his Shermans in the formation instead of just maxing out the Lees. And he's
Interesting
running,
choice, yeah.
yeah, and he's running an armored rifle company with 2 short platoons where he has armored mortars as well and the T-30s. So he got 3 templates with smoke. He got a total of 9 bazookas and a lot of rifle shots and light machine guns. And he also has a lucky card to fill out the. So, what can you do with a formation like this? Well, you can defend if you need to, right? But pop down a armored rifle company on the objectives.
Yeah.
And you can smoke so you can't be shot at, and you can counterattack, you can bazooka your way, your Shermans can come in from reserve and still have a lot of shots with the stabilizers, your Lees can come in. So it's a good list. You can attack, the Lees can push forward, the Shermans can push forward. 3 smoke templates, you can get where you want to be without being shot again. So it of course has some problems, like what are you going to do against stuff with the heavy front armor? They max out at anti-tank 10 with the Shermans and the bazookas. So it's not like you're not going to sit back and win a firefight against heavily armored stuff. Like if you get up against some Stuks, or if you play against some KVs, would be an obvious problem here. How are you going to handle that? But it seems like a list that can do a lot of things good, and of course, this is not it's not the standard build of the US Lee companies, but
No, it's still a large part of it, right? You both have armored rifles and Lees.
It's still just a variation on a theme, so it's up to the players to pick the units they think can do the job for their battle plan.
Yeah.
And
If
of
you
course,
think about the Shermans, it's a good reserve unit for 22 points.
it is.
So it gives him some extra flexibility in what to bring out in reserve as well.
Yeah, you can put them out, and front armor 6. It doesn't sound like it's a lot better, and of course it won't stop the German glass cannons. But if you're playing against Italians, right? Front armor 6 against the anti-tank 9 of the normal anti-tank 8 of the normal Sem Winters, right? That actually makes a huge difference. On long range, you can't be killed by a Sem Winter.
They have heat, so.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But
You can't be killed.
don't.
Okay, disregard my comment.
But yeah, it makes a huge difference for the Italians.
Errata. Yes. Yeah, but it makes a difference. You need to roll a 1 to die, and of course, it'll happen on the wrong time. But it's a nice unit.
Yeah, remember the early days of mid-war where I played Italians against Russians, and it was just tough because T-30, what is it called? T-34s.
Yeah.
They just assassinated these silly Sem Winters. They had no chance.
Yeah. That's where you need some German backup.
Yeah.
Or the Lanciers is on overwork.
Yeah.
But and Fred is doing well. We can see they played 4 rounds at the moment, and he's near the top. So it's working. It's flexible and it's very solid. Also, it has a lot of, well, maybe not a lot of teams, but it has quite a decent number of teams. It's not like an elite force. So you can take some casualties and still be able to do your job. It's not a...
Yeah, and they also have, do they also have Blood, Guts and Glory, or what is it? Or is that in late war?
No, they have what's it called? Blood and Glory.
So it's
so they rally.
No, they're just confident. Okay.
They're just confident. Okay.
Confident green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cut that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a US build, and let's look at we have a German list we could have a look at.
So Giorgio Bendotti is running Armored Panther company from Ghost Panthers, and he's doing the smart thing of running some small units, so minimum units plus a AT rifle, so the six team units with the door knocker as well, the little half track with a gun. He's also running mortars, classic. Stummels for 12 points for 4 tank teams. That's a bit expensive, but also 6 flamethrowers.
Yes.
Interesting formation, I think.
Yeah.
Usually, when I ran Panzer Grenadiers in mid-war at ETC, I ran it with just to mob up. So they were never my main assault force. They just needed to mob up houses or clear the way for the tanks in some places. So I think it's very smart of him just to have small units and not waste too many points on it. Then he also has 2 of the Sture Emil, 18 points for the biggest gun in the game. Interesting. I like it. They have 5 in front armor, so it's not because they're gonna fall over if you blow on it. But again, when I played at ETC with my Italians, I loved meeting these heavy tanks or heavy tank killers because they have a problem against spam in a way, or a lot of enemies, right?
They definitely do. Like they
Yeah.
they won't win a shootout against the Lees, for example.
No, they're gonna die very
But
fast.
they do reach across the table, and they
Yeah.
do kill everything they hit. Right?
Yeah, but when we saw Fred's list, for example, you had 3 smoke templates.
Yes.
So he's gonna be up in your face, smoke, and then shoot the next turn with
Yes.
his stabilizers.
Yes, precisely. If all of a sudden 8, 9 tank teams are emerging from
Yeah.
smoke, and I know they'll get the penalty, but you'll get full rate of fire,
Yeah.
hitting on 5, 6, 7s maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're throwing 20 dice, it should kill.
Yeah.
Should kill, and if you just kill one of them, you won't lose all your platoons in the next round.
Mm-hmm.
He's also running some T26s.
Yes, that's interesting. So he brought the Finnish allied, right?
Yeah.
And they have been upcosted, I think. They're costing more.
Yes. They are.
So, interesting choice, I think.
Yes.
Because I think we both ran them at one point
Yep.
in some way, right? You brought it to Telvisoda,
Yep.
and you were not really satisfied with them, I remember.
No. Like, it wasn't for me. They moved too slow. Even though I painted up a huge amount of T26s, they simply it didn't suit my play style. But they're a good assault unit if you can get them going. They're not fast. They don't have a big gun.
Yeah, I totally get this list that Giorgio wants to assault, right? He wants to push in with his armored Panzer Grenadiers and flamethrowers.
Yes.
And then he's supporting the attack with the 2 long-range guns from behind.
Yes.
Then he's probably using the tank hunter Stuka to shoot M10s or anything hiding behind a hill when that is defending.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid list. Classic German. I love it. I love the armored Panzer Grenadier units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are like the Swiss Army knife, just like the armored rifles with the Americans. You can do everything with them. You can defend, you can attack, you can use them in mobile battle. They can relocate to the place you need them. They're not running across the wheat field and getting machine gunned to death.
No.
They are a really good unit. They are also expensive. 9 points for 5 teams, 16 with the anti-tank rifle, but it's still costly.
Yeah, it's going to be 11 points or 9 points. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But against Etienne, for example, this would be an interesting list. I think this would be strong against Etienne.
Yeah.
You would have a lot of assault units to get through all of Etienne's infantry, and you would have 2 big guns against 6 heavy tanks. So that's a
Yes, yes. It,
decent amount. But
it,
against Fred, as you said, it's gonna be a problem.
yes, but it's mid-war is often, and Flames War in general, we talk about rock, paper, scissors, right?
Yeah,
There is a lot of lists that have a direct counter where you say that if these lists are played by equally skilled players, this will be the rock beating the paper,
yeah,
or the scissor cutting the rock is never beating the paper, right? But yeah, so that's a funny way. How do you build a list that can do everything?
yeah. You usually can't.
You usually can't,
No.
and the mission has a huge impact
Hmm.
of how the game is going to go.
Hmm.
Winning bypass as defender isn't as easy as winning no retreat as defender. So
Mm.
of course that also have an influence.
Huge difference.
But
Yeah.
it's an example of a German list that's built. We could say it's a classical German build with armored
Yeah.
panzergrenadiers.
It's the typical one you see new players play, I guess, ish. Maybe not Sture Emils, but definitely the style is very German. I love it.
It's very German and it can do a lot of things. But
Yeah.
it's, as we said in the beginning, it's not how the Germans play necessarily. It's not every list doesn't look like this. We got
No.
Grenadier companies, we got Fallschirmjäger companies, we got without a plane, we got with big guns, we got with no big guns, we got the Germans are just what do you want to pick. So
Yeah.
why are they so popular? Then why do we see 11 German lists? Why is that the most common nation? Well,
Maybe it is exactly because that you can play different styles or different lists,
precisely.
or
And
it's because people just love Germans.
well, yeah, because if you build a German list, it's going to work everywhere. It's going to work on
Hmm.
the Eastern Front. It's going to work on the Western
Yeah.
Front. You can use it in Africa. So if you're going to start up with an army, build the Germans because they can be used everywhere. It's just, it's a good army to have. You can
Mm.
always find a historical opponent to play, which is nice.
Yeah. Right. We found Flaviano's list. So Flaviano is from the Italian ETC team. And the interesting story about Flaviano is that he only played 3 games. And Son and I had a debate whether it's possible to get 20 points by losing one of the games, but it's not. So he must have won all 3, and he's unfortunately not playing the second day of the tournament. Um, but he is one of the few that brought a Romanian list, and it's at least it's clear to me that he's practicing maybe for ETC with Romanians, because why not use Germans if you have the option? Uh,
Yes. Well, we just looked at the German Panzergrenadier list,
yeah,
where you get
exactly.
5 teams for 9 points. If
Yeah,
we look at the Romanians list, you can
yeah.
see
Now you're getting 7. You're not getting an AT rifle though.
no.
But you're still getting careful troops. I think I can't remember if they're green or trained, probably trained. They have
No,
bad morale, I think.
but Romanians do assault on a 3 plus.
Oh yeah, they hit on 3 plus for the motherland almost, and they have a bad last stand or something.
Yes.
So they are pretty decent for the points. And he brought 2 armored rifle platoons with half tracks, 7 guys, and an unarmored motorized rifle platoon.
Yep.
Interesting. And some machine guns, of course, some mortars, and some 89 anti-tank guns for 7 points. That's pretty cheap
Yeah.
when they're still careful.
Yep.
3 Pack 40s for 10 points, also a bit cheaper than the Germans. Armored cars. They are also 1 point cheaper actually. And he has some small artillery and 4 Stuks with the big gun. So that's AT-11 when it's
Yep.
late, I guess. And
Yep.
front armor 7, really, really, really decent gun platform.
Yep.
Good at shooting Lees, because Lees only have 89 usually.
Yep.
So again, very strong. How do you call it? Base foundation, right? Lots of infantry. It's careful. you have 2 anti-tank gun units and your Stuks and some artillery that in last resort can also shoot 88.
Yep.
So not a bad list either. I'm guessing he's maneuvering or attacking or defending. I guess he can do anything.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the mechanized lists, right? They can do anything without getting hurt too much. Of course, all the mission data shows that don't pick maneuver. You'll have the hardest time winning. You're at least swimming up current if you're maneuvering. It is easier to pick a defend stance and get a defensive mission. If you can do that, you have a high probability of winning certain missions. For example, no retreat or dogfight, stuff like that, where you could be maneuvering and you can end up defending in counterattack or counter-strike, as it's called. So you have problems, but you have all the tools. You have got a decent amount of anti-tank. You hit on force. The Stuks are good front armor, I should say 7. Against the Lees, you all of a sudden have a decent save. You have a bigger gun. You hit on force. They hit on 3s. Maybe you'll win that shootout, depending on how the smoke bombardments are going to go down. You can put your infantry in the half tracks. They won't die to mortar fire, stuff like that. And played skillfully, they apparently can give you 3 wins in a tournament. So it would have been fun to see how he was going to do if he played Sunday, where the top players all are going to meet, because it's an elite force. You get more teams than you would do if you played Germans, but it's still not.
It's not easy to remove. No.
So that's fun, but it shows that it's another way to play mechanized infantry. If you can find the models Battlefront, then Romanians would be a good way to go.
Remind me about those on Friday.
And the Romanians, of course, has the fun thing that they are Axis in mid-war, but can be both Axis and allies if you're playing them in late war. And you can paint them up in the same way. They don't change uniforms. They won't all of a sudden get a P-dot camo in late war. So you can have paint up a unit you can use both in late and mid, and it's fun to play. So that's interesting. It's only 2 Romanian lists, and getting 3 wins is quite an achievement. So it would be nice to see how
really
these
good.
games has gone. Well, I think that's it. I think we should leave it up to the viewers to click the link, go to the list, and try and go through and see what you think is interesting in the lists at the Italian nationals, because there is a lot of different ones. Even though the Soviets are made of the same mold, it's still all of a sudden little different things you're going to do. David Vigor from the US, he's playing a SU-76 company as well. Nobody else is doing that. So why isn't he? Why isn't people playing that? It's a good gun, slow firing. They can shoot an artillery bombardment, decently costed. Why is that not popular? Why are we putting our points into KVs instead? So there's little twists and turns where you can get your own idea of what you're going to play.
And then we got all the Italian lists that we didn't go through. And they're pretty cool as well.
The Italians.
I would assume they have a hard time, because the infantry is fine, but not really that AT oriented. They don't have AT guns that aren't 88s, and their tanks are not that strong. On paper, at least, their stats are not that strong, but they always surprise you, the Italians.
They always surprise. It helps when you have a remount 2+.
Thanks for listening in and listening to us talk about the Italian nationals lists, and thanks for giving us all your input, Søren, and your hard work of looking through all the lists and checking them, validating them. See you next time.
Thanks for dropping by.